Hey there, everyone. We're back here today to talk about Small Favor, another of the books in the Dresden Files. Again, I love Jim Butcher's Dresden Files. I'm trying to convert my son. Zach, what did you think of Small Favor?
Well, I read this one in 2 days, so that tells you something.
Oh, it's one of your better books then. Let's find out more. We're Fantasy for the Ages. Thanks for being with us, everybody. I'm Jim, the father. That's Zach, the son. This is a spoiler-light review. If you have not read Small Favor, you're safe here. We're not going to ruin the plot. If you have read it, you'll know even more what we're talking about. I'm trying to totally get Zach into the Dresden Files, and it sounds like this book may have made some progress. It gripped you, huh, Zach?
Well, partially, I happened to hit a point where I was a little bit on break from things. I had time off work and was able to sit and just read. And so I was able to commit to a few hours each day seriously reading it, and it read pretty quickly. That being said, it does feature a number of my favorite elements of the Dresden Files. The pieces that, when they do appear, are usually my favorite books.
Okay,
Um, from and I'm gonna name some things, but I'm also gonna try and be a little vague. Um,
gotcha.
uh, some Never Never phase stuff here and there. The Denarians are always something that I find compelling.
Mm-hmm.
Anytime that whole side of the supernatural gets involved, things are more interesting. They just are.
Sure. We've got the Fae, we've got Denarians in this one. Can you give us the basic gist of what this book's about?
Yeah,
Tiny
you
snit?
remember in our last little tiny talk that I did about White Knight, we talked about how there might be implications or problems with Marconi's new status. There is, because the Denarians are going to use that as a maneuvering plan, and it gets wild. A guy gets taken, and a fairy queen says, "Hey, Dresden,
I need you for a
remember how
particular
I
set of
have 3
skills.
favors? I'm calling one in."
Mm-hmm.
Just to check something out. Yeah, that's all the favor is. And I'm like, yeah, you can only say it's a small favor because you only technically asked a small thing and then you knew Dresden was going to have to do something.
Yeah, yeah. So he gets into a boatload of challenge here, and it's quite the exciting adventure.
Yeah, multiple people almost die. He almost dies. Other important father figures in the series almost
Mm.
die.
There is
Um,
definitely a heavy price paid by one of these characters this time.
People got to stop giving Harry swords, though.
He's making a collection.
Yeah, but he shouldn't. He just shouldn't. If he wasn't the main character of this series, he probably wouldn't be the right person to have this. But hey, the Watchmen seems interested enough to let it slide, so there's something there.
Harry is forced to focus his energy and work to assist some people he doesn't want to have to interact with. But we do get interaction with another character that it's fun to spend some time with. The archive.
Gotcha, there we go. That's a very interesting relationship that I kind of like. Um,
Yeah.
Also, the context of why is the archive a kid sucks.
Yes.
And we didn't get it until this book,
Yeah.
but that sucks.
And of course, then there's the archive's bodyguard,
Yeah,
Kincaid. He's an interesting character.
I
We've
still
dealt with
don't
him
think
before
we
too.
know everything about what's up with him exactly because he's not normal, but he is.
There's definitely some mystery there, though. Yeah.
And it's a mystery where I'm like, am I interested and want to know, or am I concerned that you being a story means Harry Dresden might actually bite it? Not permanently, because it's the Dresden Files, but he could die.
Anything can happen. There's even supernatural involved, so anything could happen. I enjoy, just as a side note, Harry's nickname for the archive. That's adorable. And it seems to work.
My brain's sitting here going, I don't remember a nickname. I remember a name, but I guess technically it would be a nickname.
hmm There is a number of key elements that happen in this book. I mean, so many key elements, but one of the scenes that really stood out for me is the whole shed aquarium scene.
Mhm.
I've been in the Shed Aquarium, so I could place that
Mm.
because it's in, I grew up in Chicago, so a lot of the settings are,
Chicago makes sense
familiar
to
to me.
you. It doesn't to me.
Yeah, yeah,
I've
but I could
maybe
picture
been
all of
through the airport. Maybe.
that. But the way things go down in that scene was, kind of predictable. You
I
knew
feel
something
bad
was
for the
gonna
fish.
happen. Hmm?
I feel bad for the fish.
Of course.
They didn't do nothing. They didn't
No,
deserve that.
certainly not. And then when we have this extra element that's tucked in throughout the book where Harry is dealing with these other guys.
Mhm.
And that's like entertaining. Frustrating, but entertaining. I particularly enjoyed the moment in McAnally's or McAnally's. I don't know how to
And
say it, but the bar, the pub,
yeah,
where Murphy steps up.
it's a very risky move.
Mm-hmm.
Um, and it kind of inserts a certain level of normie with magic that usually isn't there to keep the normie part safe.
Yeah.
But it is nice seeing Murphy more and more involved. And I wish Dresden would kind of get off his supernatural high horse and just let her be more involved more often.
This book highlights, though, how Murphy, I mean, there's been a real journey for this character.
Oh, yeah.
You think back to where she was way in the beginning and her perspective and interactions with Harry Dresden to where we are now. It's a total difference.
We gotta love the awkward interactions between Harry and Kincaid when Murphy's in the room.
With some reasons. This, of course, all leads up to the big to do finale, ultimate moments
Mhm.
out
Get to the
on,
chopper.
yeah. And again, things don't go the way Harry hoped. Never things go the way Harry hopes. I mean, just that never works.
Yeah, but generally, they go better than expected.
Okay. Couple of key moments. I'm just gonna say a couple of words or
Mhm.
phrases, and I want to know if yes, when that happened, you were also like, love it, or if it was, Am I saying this right? The ride of the Valkyries.
Mm.
That moment.
Yeah, it
Was
was
that a
okay.
good moment for you?
It was okay.
Huh. I was like, that's awesome. Of course, there's a reason that's doubly awesome. And you
Yep.
figured that reason out already, of course. I mean, that's been clear, right?
If I'm following what you're saying, yes.
Yeah. The other is the donut.
Yes. That was probably one of my favorite points in the book because it was
Mm-hmm.
less important, but we continue to see moments where fey creatures, while beholden to their court, love to be particular and be able to weasel things around. And just because the boss says something doesn't mean you can't figure something out with a mortal, with Harry Dresden, to still do what you have to do, but like make it work.
It plays to their nature as the Fae. But I enjoy when Jim Butcher can do something like this, where it's a serious moment, it's a tense moment, and he can add a little whimsy to the story and still do it in a way that, okay, no, that works. That's ridiculous, but that works. Okay.
It's very hit or miss for me on the whimsy. Um, this time it worked. Sometimes it feels a little bit of a stretch, in that I totally understand Harry Dresden saying this or doing this because he's panicked for his life and being a sarcastic ass. But it working or actually being something that we as readers are supposed to find funny, it doesn't always land.
Okay. One last character I would ask you about. Any thoughts about Lucio?
I mean, she's fine.
She's fine.
She's and I hate it feels like she's a stand-in, which is unfair to her.
Mm.
It's like Dresden treats her presence, period, as something more useful and consolation prizey.
Ooh, ouch.
And I don't think it's an intentional, like malicious thing on his part, but that doesn't make it feel better.
Then it seemed logical, natural that this progressed like this between the two of them. Because, there's two sides to things. It's not just how Harry's looking at it, it's how
Yeah,
she's
no,
looking at it.
I don't really fully get where she's coming from, but it's important to the story that it happens, I think, and so it does.
Okay.
It feels a little forced of, this is where I want this interaction between characters to be, and so this is where we're going to make it. And yeah, we're saying there's been context in the past and more things that have happened off the page that make it make sense. But I'm like, it doesn't really. It's not crazy, but I don't think it is as smooth as it maybe ought to be.
Okay. Okay. Well, there's a lot that happened in this book that harkens back to other things from previous books. For instance, the donut is a direct tie from
Mhm.
something books and books ago. And you're going to continue to see things like that. These layers, these foreshadowing things that have payoffs. And there are things that happened in this book that you don't even know what he's going to do with yet. It's definitely an enjoyable book for me because I know where it's going. And I look forward to you seeing how some of these things turn out. You are clearly aware there were some big occurrences in this book that have ramifications moving forward. I look forward to you seeing what those ramifications are.
Fair
All
enough.
right. Any last word on Small Favor?
Nope.
All right. Thanks for being with us again, everyone. If you enjoyed this, hit that like button, subscribe if you haven't done so, and we treasure your comments down below. Thanks for watching. We'll talk to you next time.